New York woke up wrapped in a heavy mist that clung to the streets like a secret refusing to lift. Daniel hadn't slept. The envelope, the whisper in the warehouse, the locked door, everything replayed behind his eyes in slow motion, each frame more unsettling than the last. He sat by the window of his apartment, watching dawn crawl across Manhattan's skyline, feeling as if the city itself was holding its breath. Everyone has something to hide, everyone has something to lose, and in this story, someone won't make it out alive. Children of power. When a dynasty falls, everyone gets crushed. Daniel kept thinking about the voice, the way it seemed too close, too calm, too familiar. But that wasn't the only thing haunting him. His mind kept drifting back to Olivia, not the Olivia he had met in the middle of the crisis, trembling, frightened, trying to make sense of the evidence she'd stumbled upon. But the Olivia who, even in fear, held her shoulders steady, who had looked him in the eyes when she said she wasn't running, who had touched the USB with shaking fingers but didn't flinch when the truth on it threatened her entire life in New York. There was something about her, something that felt dangerously magnetic, something that made him want to stay close. And in a moment like this, when everything he knew was collapsing, that feeling scared him more than the warehouse ever had. He forced himself to get up, to move, to breathe. Olivia was supposed to meet him in the late morning near Bryant Park. She didn't say why, just that she had seen something else, something new, something she didn't want to talk about over the phone. But before he could leave, a soft alert blinked on his laptop screen. New message received. No sender, no subject. He hesitated, but curiosity overpowered caution. He clicked. A single line filled the screen slowly, as if someone were typing it in real time. You're not the only one watching her. Daniel's stomach tightened. His hands turned cold. Then another line appeared. And she isn't the one in danger anymore. For a moment he stood still, breath locked in his lungs, the room bending around him as the implications sank in. A second message popped up, this one appearing instantly, violently, like someone had slammed it onto his screen. If you go to Bryant Park, you won't leave alone. The cursor blinked. Once, twice. Then the window closed by itself. Daniel grabbed his coat in one hard motion and rushed to the door. Because if Olivia was being watched, if someone was following her through New York streets, if she was truly the one at risk now. He couldn't sit still. He couldn't ignore it. He couldn't lose her before he even understood why he felt this pull toward her. The city felt different as he stepped outside, heavier, colder, as if every window reflected someone he couldn't see. Daniel headed toward Bryant Park anyway. He didn't care who was watching. He just needed to get to her. But he didn't know that Olivia had left her apartment earlier than planned, and someone else had followed her, someone who walked 3 steps behind. Never closer, never farther. Someone who knew exactly where the morning would end. Olivia walked fast, though she wasn't fully aware of her own pace. Her thoughts were louder than the New York traffic, louder than the morning rush, louder than the voices around her. She clutched her bag close to her chest, fingers trembling slightly, as if she expected it to be ripped from her at any moment. She kept replaying that moment from sunrise. The elevator mirror. The faint reflection behind her shoulder that didn't belong to her. A silhouette that was there for less than a breath. but long enough to root itself in her mind, dark and unshakable. She had brushed it off at first. Maybe she hadn't slept well. Maybe the shadows just caught her at the wrong angle. But then, at the lobby doors, she felt it. The unmistakable sense of being watched. Not glanced at, not noticed, watched. It felt like fingers tracing the back of her neck. Invisible but deliberate. Still, she kept walking. She needed to meet Daniel. She didn't know why he wanted the meeting to be in public, only that he insisted on broad daylight with people around. And somehow that made her feel safer, or at least safer than being alone. But as she crossed yet another street, she paused for just a second and caught her reflection in a storefront window. A breath, a blink, a flicker of movement behind her. Her heart jumped. She spun around. Nothing. Just the usual crowd. A man adjusting his coat. A woman on her phone. A teenager rushing past with headphones. All normal, all harmless. But the air felt wrong. Like the city was carrying tension instead of winter wind. She forced herself to breathe. Slow, deep. Keep walking. As she reached the edge of Bryant Park, she scanned the area, searching for Daniel. He wasn't there yet. The grass glistened with frost under the weak morning sun, and for a second, the small bursts of winter light cutting through the trees made her shoulders relax just a little. That's when her phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. You shouldn't have left home alone. Olivia's chest tightened. She looked around instinctively, eyes darting through the crowd, searching for anyone who wasn't looking away fast enough. No one stood out. Yet she felt it. A presence. Somewhere in the noise. Somewhere in the moving bodies. Watching her. Another vibration. Another message. Same number. He won't get to you in time. Her throat went dry. Not because of fear, though fear held on to her like a cold hand, but because the message sounded personal. Someone knew she was waiting for Daniel. Someone knew she trusted him. Someone knew enough to weaponize that detail. Then, from across the park, a hurried voice called her name.
Olivia!
Daniel, finally. She turned, and for a moment everything inside her eased. Just a fraction, just enough. There was something grounding about him, something steady in the way he moved toward her, eyes scanning the area as if he had expected danger long before she sensed it. But before she could call back to him, something shifted in the air, a movement, soft, nearly silent, but distinct. Someone stepped out from behind a line of tall hedges. Only a silhouette at first, partially hidden by the morning fog curling off the grass. They stopped, watching her, unmoving. Olivia felt the world narrow into a single point. Her pulse hammered once, twice, and... Daniel noticed her expression before he saw the figure. And when he did, his face changed. Not to fear, not to panic, to recognition. Quiet, cold, immediate recognition.
Olivia?
He said slower this time, voice low.
Don't move.
For a moment, the city itself seemed to freeze along with them. The noise of New York dulled into a distant hum, like someone had turned down the volume of the world. The cold air settled between them, thick with something unspoken. Olivia didn't blink. Couldn't. Her gaze stayed locked on the figure half hidden behind the hedges, a silhouette that felt both familiar and totally foreign. Daniel moved first, not toward Olivia, toward the shadow. It was subtle, just one step forward, then another. But his whole posture changed. His shoulders tensed, his jaw tightened, and his eyes sharpened with a focus Olivia had never seen in him before, as if he wasn't surprised, as if he had expected this, as if this moment had finally caught up to him. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, didn't break eye contact. Olivia felt her breath catch in her throat. The cold brushed against her neck again, whisper-light and deliberate, like a warning from the wind. She swallowed hard and forced her voice out.
Daniel, who is that?
He didn't answer. Or rather, he couldn't, not yet. He lifted a hand slightly, a gesture asking her to stay still, but there was something else in it too, something protective, something instinctive and sharp and quietly desperate. Olivia felt it hit her in a place she hadn't expected. The strange comfort of being defended by someone who shouldn't care this much. Not this soon. Not with everything unravelling around them. Then the figure finally stepped forward. A face began to form from the fog. A jawline first, then a mouth, then eyes, dark, steady, and unreadable. Olivia's chest tightened. She didn't recognize him, but Daniel did, very well. And just when he parted his lips to speak, the stranger raised a hand, not threatening, just acknowledging, almost casual, almost polite. But the gesture carried weight, like he was shutting down a conversation before it even began. Not here, the man said, voice low, smooth and strangely calm. Too many eyes. Olivia didn't understand the words, only the way Daniel reacted to them. His expression closed instantly, guarded, as if doors inside him slammed shut all at once. The man turned his gaze to Olivia. Not hostile, not warm, just knowing. You should stop walking alone in the mornings, he said. His tone carried no malice, only inevitability. Olivia felt a chill crawl down her spine. Before she could ask who he was, the man slipped his hands into his coat pockets and stepped backward into the fog. Not fleeing, not hiding, just leaving. Like he'd come only to be seen, to be acknowledged, to plant a seed of dread, and then disappear. He was gone within seconds. Only then did Olivia turn to Daniel. Only then did his breath finally release.
Daniel,
She whispered, voice trembling slightly.
what just happened? Who was that?
Daniel stared at the place where the man vanished, eyes storming with worry, regret, and something that looked like fear.
I hoped I was wrong. I hoped he wouldn't show up.
Olivia stepped closer without realizing she had moved. Close enough to feel the warmth radiating off him. Close enough to see the tension in his jaw, the conflict in his eyes.
Daniel, tell me.
He looked at her then, really looked at her, and something in his expression softened. Just for a second, just enough to break through the walls he had put up around himself. His voice lowered, intimate in the middle of the cold park.
He's connected to my mother.
Daniel said.
And if he's here, things are already worse than I thought.
Olivia's fingers brushed his sleeve, accidentally, instinctively, and Daniel didn't pull away. For a moment, the danger around them tangled with something warm, something magnetic, something they weren't ready to name yet. But whatever it was, whatever was forming between them, was interrupted by the sudden buzz of Olivia's phone. One new message, same unknown number. He's lying to you. Olivia felt the world tilt. Daniel saw the screen over her shoulder, and his expression darkened with something that wasn't fear this time. It was fury. Daniel's jaw tightened as he stared at the message on Olivia's screen. For the first time since she met him, Olivia saw a flash of pure, unrestrained emotion break through his composed exterior. Not fear, not confusion, anger. and not the kind directed at her. This anger was aimed squarely at whoever stood behind that unknown number. Whoever dared to wedge themselves between them. Whoever wanted to break the fragile trust that had only just begun to grow. Olivia watched his reaction with a strange mixture of worry and something else. Something warm. Something pulling her toward him even as the danger pushed her away. She swallowed hard.
Daniel, why would they say that?
She whispered. Her voice trembled, but not from fear alone, from uncertainty, from the weight of everything she didn't know. Daniel stepped closer, lowering his tone, trying to steady the storm behind his eyes.
They want you afraid. They want you doubting me. They want distance between us because that makes you easier to isolate.
Isolate me for what?
Olivia's voice cracked on the last word. Daniel hesitated, not because he didn't know, but because he knew too well. The silence stretched between them, tense, heavy, charged. Olivia searched his face, looking for an answer, any answer. Daniel finally exhaled.
There are people who didn't want my mother in power, and there are people who did. Neither side wants the truth coming out now. And you, somehow, you're caught in the middle.
Olivia's breath hitched, but she didn't step back. She stepped closer.
So tell me the truth, Daniel. All of it. Please.
It was the please that broke him. He looked down, just for a moment, as if fighting something inside himself. Fear, guilt, memory, longing. And when he looked back up, something in his expression had shifted. Softer, rawer. He lifted his hand slowly, almost uncertainly, and brushed a stray strand of hair from Olivia's cheek. A gentle touch, quiet, brief. But it hit her like warmth in winter.
You don't know what you're asking.
Then help me understand.
Her eyes didn't move from his, and for a split second, Daniel looked like he was on the edge of telling her everything, of confessing the truth he'd been carrying alone for far too long. But the moment shattered. A sharp metallic clatter rang out behind them. Both turned instantly. 2 hot dog carts collided at the edge of Bryant Park. Just vendors arguing, steam rising from metal lids, people walking past without noticing anything unusual. But Daniel's instincts didn't settle. Something about the sound, too abrupt, too intentional, cut through the air wrong. His body stayed tense, alert, eyes scanning every movement around them with urgency. Olivia felt it too. That shift, that invisible pressure.
Daniel?
She whispered. He didn't answer, because that's when Olivia's phone buzzed again. Same number, same chill. A new message. He touched you. He shouldn't have. Olivia's fingers went cold. Daniel saw her reaction and stepped closer, protective, eyes blazing now. A second message came in instantly. This is the last warning. Daniel grabbed her wrist gently, grounding her.
We're leaving right now.
Where?
Olivia breathed.
Somewhere no one can watch us.
She didn't argue. For the first time, she let herself follow him without hesitation. But as they walked away, neither of them saw the man with the grey beanie on the corner of the street, holding a phone with the screen still glowing. A live recording of them, walking side by side. He smiled, slow, deliberate, knowing, and then slipped into the crowd. Daniel led Olivia through the crowded streets with a focus that cut through the chaos of New York like a blade. He didn't run, but his pace was urgent, fast enough to avoid attention, slow enough not to draw it. Olivia followed closely, her heart pounding with each step, her mind replaying the messages in silent loops. He touched you. He shouldn't have. This is the last warning. She didn't know which part scared her more. the words themselves, or the fact that Daniel seemed to understand exactly what they meant. They turned down a narrow street behind the New York Public Library, then another, weaving through quieter blocks until the traffic noise thinned out and the morning light dimmed between taller buildings. Daniel finally stopped near a service entrance, checking the street with sharp, trained eyes before pulling a small black keycard from his wallet.
Where are we?
Somewhere no one will think to look.
A soft beep echoed as the door unlocked. He pushed it open and guided her inside. The hallway was dim, lined with old pipes and cement walls, an unremarkable service corridor that could belong to any one of 100 Manhattan buildings. But the air felt secure, insulated from the city's gaze. Almost too quiet. Olivia wrapped her arms around herself, partly from the cold, partly from the weight of the morning. Daniel waited until the door clicked shut before turning to her, his voice low, steady.
Are you okay?
It was the first time he asked her that since they met. Something in her chest softened.
No, I'm scared.
Olivia admitted, breath shaky. Daniel stepped closer. Just a small movement, but enough to close the emotional distance between them. His voice gentled.
You're allowed to be...
Olivia swallowed hard, feeling the intensity of his presence, the way his eyes softened when he looked at her. Even in a moment like this, even with danger pressing in from all sides.
Daniel, you knew that man, the one in the park. Who is he? Why did he just appear like that?
A shadow crossed Daniel's expression. He hesitated long enough for Olivia to feel the tension coil again.
He used to work for my mother, not officially. Not on paper. If he's here, it means someone powerful doesn't want us talking.
Olivia felt a chill run through her.
And the messages? The warnings?
That's not him. He doesn't threaten. He delivers.
The silence after those words was heavy, almost suffocating. Olivia took a step closer, not out of fear, but out of something deeper, something she didn't fully understand yet.
Why am I involved in this? Why me, Daniel? I didn't even know your mother.
Daniel met her eyes, and for once, he didn't look away.
Because you saw something you weren't supposed to see.
His voice fell to a hush.
And because I pulled you into this without meaning to.
The admission hit the air like a confession, a gentle, painful truth. Olivia felt her breath catch. The closeness between them shifted. Less fear, more gravity, like the world outside was collapsing, and they were the only steady ground left for each other. Daniel reached out slowly, giving her time to step back. She didn't. His hand brushed her arm, warm, careful, grounding, and Olivia felt the contact echo through her, settling somewhere deep, somewhere unspoken.
Daniel, what if they're right? What if trusting you is dangerous?
She murmured, voice trembling with something more than fear. Daniel swallowed, his expression softening in a way that made her chest ache.
It is dangerous, but so is being alone in this.
The truth hung between them, charged. Danger and comfort tangled together. Before either could say another word, a metallic clang echoed through the corridor. Both froze. A second sound followed. A soft, deliberate footstep. Not outside, inside. Daniel's hand moved instantly to Olivia's back, guiding her behind him without taking his eyes off the dark end of the hallway. His voice dropped to a whisper.
Stay close to me.
Olivia's pulse thundered in her ears. A shadow shifted near the far corner. Tall, still, watching. Another step. Daniel's shoulders tensed like wire. Then a voice, low, calm, almost amused, slid through the hallway. Daniel, you should have stayed out of this. Olivia's breath hitched. She recognized the voice. The man from the park. Closer now. Hidden in the dark. Daniel stepped forward just enough to shield her fully.
What do you want?
He called out, steady but burning. The man exhaled a quiet laugh. To make sure she understands, he said, she needs to know the truth about your mother before you do. Olivia's blood turned cold. Daniel's jaw clenched.
What truth?
But the man didn't answer. Instead, a small red dot flicked onto the wall behind them. A laser, not aimed at Daniel, not at the wall. It slid slowly onto Olivia's shoulder. Her breath caught. Daniel reacted instantly, pulling her to the side, pressing her against him as the laser disappeared. The man's voice echoed again, calm, final. That was your last warning. A metallic door at the far end slammed shut. Footsteps. Silence. Gone. Daniel held Olivia against him, his heart thundering, his breath uneven. Part fear, part adrenaline, part something else entirely. She clung to him, shaken, trembling, feeling the world tilt around them. His voice broke the silence, soft and raw.
Olivia, I'm not letting anything happen to you, I swear.
And for the first time, Olivia believed him. Not because it was safe, but because something between them had crossed a line. Quiet, unspoken, irreversible. The episode closes on them in the dim hallway. Close, shaken, and undeniably bound together now, while a security camera above them blinks red, recording every second. Watching. Always watching. To be continued. Episode 4 will reveal who ordered the warning, and why Olivia is suddenly the key to everything.